Well, have you got an attitude now for this grinding? Oh boy. So what you can do is what we recommended for the surface prepping when you're doing pressure washing with these loud machines. While you're grinding, you might as well put in the tunes, put in those headphones, put on a headset, and just grind to your favorite song. And before you know it, things will be over with. So just to give you a little bit of a projected time frame on a 500 square foot driveway, if you have to patch in and do, let's say roughly 30%, 30 to 50% of the surface areas in patched and filled areas, along with your miscellaneous cracks that are going throughout the surface there. Grinding wise, you'd be looking at, with one person, I'm going to say you could probably do this in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's if you stay with it. That's without you stopping, taking a break, just hardcore time on the ground, grinding your life away. So on some area like that, it shouldn't take you more than 2.5 hours if you're doing it very slowly and methodically. That was the word I was looking for back in one of the other segments. Methodically. I like that word, don't you? Anyway, that should give you a little bit of an idea of what you can anticipate with your time element involved in the grinding side of things. So we'll look forward now to seeing you on the surfacing side of the module that's coming up next. After you get this grinding done and get things cleaned up, we'll be ready to start to train and teach you on putting down the final coat. And you're almost finished, everybody. Isn't this going to be fun to be able to see the end product? And our hope is that we're going to teach and train and walk you through this in such detail that it will end up being really a cool piece of concrete art. Okay, let's dig into the tools and equipment list on this project. First thing you're going to want is the 7-inch angle grinder. And on the end of that 7-inch angle grinder, you're going to want this 7-inch diamond bit turbo cup wheel, 24 segment. To power up your grinder, you're going to want a 100-foot power cord at least. You're going to definitely want ear guards. You're going to need at least a minimum a dust mask, or if you want to kick it up a notch, a full-blown respirator will work with a carbon filter. Gloves are optional. You don't need to wear gloves necessarily. Definitely, you're going to want eye protection. And this is optional as well. You'll see some wear knee pads and some don't. You're going to want a nice soft bristled broom to clean things up afterwards, a shovel, and at the end of the project, a blower to get all the dust residue off. So now begins the work. You'll notice here in each of these video clips how the motion of the grinder is, for the most part, in a circular motion. Using both hands, keeping it balanced so that you don't get gouges and other grinder marks. Also reestablish control joints while you're doing all this grinding, because they will just end up cracking out the material if you don't. That's what the expansion joints are for. You'll see here with this close-up that it's just better served, better controlled if you can keep the grinder always in motion. Don't ever let it just sit there in one place, or you'll just end up with a big hole or a grinder mark, a gouge, and deface the concrete so that you end up with a blemish or flaw telegraphing back through your new surface when you do the overlay. The only thing we're probably missing in the materials and supplies list is a bucket or a garbage can to put all the dust and debris and sand into. And of course, have a little fun. We try to change it up a little bit and have a good time in our work. Is to blow and clean off all the dust and debris after you've swept it up. Do this several times so that you get the surface area all nice and clean. All right, how do things look? I'm so excited for you. I hope you had a good experience yesterday. By the time that you've reviewed this, you've already gotten past your patching and filling and leveling stage and filling in cracks by now. So send to us some photos of some of your projects after you've done this stage of the work. And give us some good close-ups too, if it is that you need to give us a call at the toll-free number to ask some questions about if this is acceptable or not, or should I fill it some more. We can make some recommendations for you. But now you've really got something that's taken shape, right? And hopefully with what we've taught you and trained you to do with techniques and style in using the pool trowels, is you've found yourself standing back and looking at the project going, hey, this is really not too bad. Not too bad for my first time. So you can't mess up too bad at this stage right now. So this is where the grinder comes into play. This stage here, I'll tell you right now, is the most difficult. It is the most strenuous. It's the most dirty. It's the hardest on the body. I'll be straight up with you. There is no glamour or joy or pleasure in this unless you are a masochist. If you love pain, if you love sweat, if you love bending over, and you love the screaming sound of a 7,000 RPM angle grinder, you're going to love this. So there is some skill set into this as well, so I don't want to make it sound so bleak and a dark cloud hanging over your head with this process, but I will tell you that this is going to take some tenacity on your part. It's going to take some mental courage, and you may have to get an attitude if you have any lower back pain or knee pains in bending over and using your knees. Then you're going to want to take the precautions. Put on the knee pads for your knees if they're tender, and especially your back. Put on a back brace because it is really hard on the lower back. So if there was a downside to this stage of the work, it would be that. So physically it's going to take everything you've got to do this grinding process. Tomorrow when you do the troweling on this, it's when the finished troweling that is, and the finish coat of the resurfacing process, it's going to be nothing compared to this. So first of all, we want to point out the safety, and can't emphasize enough about being safe. This grinder, this 7-inch angle grinder, really is an aggressive tool, and especially with this 24 segment diamond bit turbo cup wheel, this thing can get away from you and could do some serious damage, especially if you get the angle grinder that you can set the trigger on and keep the power rolling to it without having to put pressure down on it. We'll show you and demonstrate to you all this in the way of techniques to use the angle grinder, but really pay close attention and just be very cautious when you start out using this angle grinder. It's one speed and one speed only. It's not going to have a variable option on it, probably like your mixer drill does. So once you pull the trigger on this thing's a humming like a son of a gun on 15 amps. And it is hot and burning, so watch yourself and be careful. Now, in the demonstration, my people, our crew, are skilled enough that we do the work without the guard. So that's why the goggles, that's why the ear guards, and if it is that you want to put on a mask as well as an additional safety precaution, certainly you could do that. But we suggest that you use the safety guards on them, where if you haven't used one before, this would help you if it decides to get away from you. If you're not holding tight on it and you happen to lose focus and your grip on it, this thing could roll right into you, or it could run away from you and hit somebody else or something. Or anyway, there can be some crazy stuff happen with one of these 7-inch grinders if you've got the power set on the trigger to where you don't have to put pressure on it anymore and it's automatically running. And if this thing gets away from you, it'll just keep running until it disconnects. This thing could run over your foot, could run up your leg, it could go on to somebody else if they're adjacent to you or watching as a standbyer. It could roll up your cord and jack it up. It could head over to a car. It could head over to your garage door. I mean, this thing is a wild child when it's loose and out of your hands and it's automatically running. So if you can imagine, this is just like a car without anybody behind the steering wheel, except a lot worse. Well, maybe not quite as bad as a car without somebody behind it steering it, right? But bad enough. Just know that bad things can happen with this, okay? So this is the disclaimer I'm giving you right now. Do-it-yourselfer people. Do everything you have to make sure you got this tool contained when you use it. Now, when you do use it, you are going to want to try to do everything in your power to control the balance of it. So, and that means that whatever you can do to keep it in motion is the secret and the key to making sure that you do not leave any more angle grinder marks than are necessary. So this is going to take a little bit of time and a feel for you to kind of get the feel for the grinder and to know where you can put pressure and where you can't apply pressure so that you can have a good results in the grinding. If you don't take the right precautions with the grinder, you're just going to end up with a lot of grinding gouges, which is going to make it more difficult for you to do the finish on this. In fact, it'll take you to another level where you will have to probably put down another coat if it is that you have ground it unevenly. So there is a skill set to this. Doesn't take a lot, but you will be able to tell when you start gouging and you start putting too much pressure and you're starting to get marks in it that you don't want. Just remember that the secret and the key to all of this grinding is to keep it in motion in a circular way and be consistent. Do it the same all the time. Going back and forth takes a different skill set. You can do it that way, yes, but we recommend that you go in a circular motion and go with the rotation of the cup wheel. It's going to drive it clockwise, and so here I'm going the opposite. Go clockwise with the drill or the grinder, and then you'll find that you'll get a much more smooth, systematic approach to and consistent finish on the grinding side of things. So this is a key part too of having this end up being and having a nice finish on it.